Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learning English with Podcast Conversation. I'm your host, Tony, and today we have a truly essential topic for you. Stop wasting time, the secret to finally taking control of your life. Oh boy, I think we all struggle with this sometimes, right? We have big dreams, important tasks, but then where does the time go? Well, today we're going to uncover some secrets. And to help us do that, I'm super excited to introduce our special guest. She's a productivity expert and a fantastic coach, Jenny. Welcome, Jenny.
Thank you, Tony. It's wonderful to be here. I'm really looking forward to our chat today. This topic is very close to my heart because I've seen firsthand, both in my own life and with my clients, how much of a difference it makes when people truly learn to manage their time and stop that feeling of constantly being behind or just letting the day slip away. It's a game changer, really.
Absolutely, a game changer. And I think that feeling of where did the day go is so common. So, Jenny, to kick things off, let's talk about the idea of wasting time. What does that really mean? Because sometimes, watching a movie or relaxing feels like wasting time, but maybe it's not always. How do you define it for people who are trying to figure this out?
That's a great starting point, Tony. For me, wasting time isn't just about doing nothing. It's more about spending time on activities that don't align with your values, your goals, or what truly makes you feel good and productive. For example, scrolling endlessly on social media when you had planned to study for an exam, or spending an hour on a task that should take 15 minutes because you're constantly getting distracted. Relaxing, like watching a movie, can be wonderful and necessary. But if you watch 3 movies when you only wanted to watch 1, and now you're feeling guilty about other undone tasks, then maybe that's where the wasting part comes in.
That makes so much sense. It's about the intention behind the activity and the feeling afterwards. So it's not just about what you're doing, but why and how it impacts your overall well-being and goals. I often find myself falling into the trap of overthinking, which also feels like a huge time waster. I'll think about starting a task for an hour before actually doing it. Do you see that a lot?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. Overthinking is a massive time sink for many people, myself included sometimes. It's often linked to procrastination or a fear of making the wrong decision. We get stuck in analysis paralysis, right? We want everything to be perfect before we even begin. Or we worry so much about the outcome that we don't take the first step. And that can really stop us from moving forward. It's like you spend so much time planning to make a perfect omelet that you never actually break an egg.
Haha, I love that analogy. The perfect omelet. It's so true. So if overthinking and endless scrolling are common time wasters, what's the secret to finally taking control? Is it some magical app, or a special morning routine, or something else entirely?
Well, I wish it were a magic app. That would make my job much easier. But the real secret, if there is one, is actually quite simple but profound. It's about asterisk awareness and intentionality. You need to become aware of where your time is actually going, and then intentionally choose how you want to spend it. It's not just about asterisks doing more, but doing more of what truly matters to you. And this often starts with very small, consistent steps. No big, sudden changes needed. Baby steps are powerful.
Awareness and intentionality. I like that. So it's not about being super strict with yourself all the time, but understanding your habits. How does someone start building that awareness? Should they write down everything they do?
That's an excellent suggestion. One of the most effective ways to build awareness is indeed to do a time audit. For just a few days, maybe 3 to 5 days, simply track everything you do. You don't have to change anything yet. Just observe. Write down in a notebook or use a simple app what you're doing every 30 minutes or hour. You might be surprised. Many people are shocked to see how much time they spend on things like checking emails, social media, or even just staring at the ceiling when they should be working. This gives you data, and data is power.
Wow, I can imagine. I think I'd be quite shocked too. I feel like my phone would have a lot to say about my unproductive hours. So once you have this awareness, what's the next step? How do you move from knowing you're wasting time to actually controlling it?
Great question. Once you have that awareness, the next step is to asterisk prioritize, znop, jop, look at your goals, your tasks. What is truly important? What will make the biggest impact on your life or work? And then, you start allocating your time intentionally. This often means learning to say no, saying no to distractions, saying no to requests that don't align with your priorities, and sometimes even saying no to your own urges to procrastinate. It's a skill, and it gets easier with practice.
Saying no, that's a tough one for many people, including myself. We often feel guilty, or we don't want to disappoint others. Do you have any tips for how to say no effectively without feeling bad about it?
Absolutely. It's a common struggle. First, remember that saying no to one thing is often saying yes to something more important to you. Frame it that way. For example, if a friend asks you to go out when you've planned a study session, you can say, "I'd love to, but I've actually committed to some study time tonight. How about tomorrow?" You're not just saying no, you're offering an alternative or explaining your commitment. It helps to be clear, polite, and firm. And also, don't feel like you need to over-explain. A simple, "I'm sorry, I can't take that on right now," is perfectly acceptable. Your time is valuable, and you have the right to protect it.
That's really helpful advice, Jenny. Saying no to one thing is saying yes to another. I'm going to remember that. It puts a positive spin on what often feels like a negative interaction. So once we've prioritized and are trying to say no more often, what are some practical techniques listeners can use to really focus and get things done?
Excellent question. This is where those practical tools come in. One of my favorites, and one that's great for beginners, is the Pomodoro technique. Have you heard of it, Tony?
Yes, I have. It's where you work for short bursts of time, right? Like 25 minutes?
Exactly. You set a timer for 25 minutes and focus intensely on one task, without any distractions. When the timer goes off, you take a short 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break, maybe 15 to 30 minutes. It works wonders because it breaks down big tasks, helps you overcome procrastination by just saying, "I can do anything for 25 minutes." And it gives your brain regular, scheduled breaks to recharge.
That sounds incredibly effective. I think the idea of just 25 minutes makes a daunting task feel much more manageable. What about people who are constantly multitasking, like trying to answer emails while listening to a podcast and doing some work? Is that efficient?
The great myth of multitasking. Many people believe they're good at it, but the science actually shows that true multitasking is very rare. What we usually do is task switching. We quickly switch our attention from one thing to another, and each switch comes with a mental cost. It takes time for your brain to reorient itself to the new task, so you end up taking longer to complete all tasks, and you're more prone to making mistakes. For most demanding tasks, deep focus on one thing at a time is far more productive and less stressful.
Wow, so true multitasking is a myth. That's a powerful point. I always feel so accomplished when I'm juggling multiple things, but deep down, I know I'm not doing any of them particularly well. It's like trying to catch 3 balls at once. You'll probably drop them all, so focus on one thing at a time. What else?
Another powerful technique is time blocking times. This is where you actually schedule specific blocks of time in your calendar for specific tasks. For instance, 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. Respond to emails, 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Work on Project X, 1 p.m. to 1:30 p.m., lunch and walk. By visually blocking out your time, you're telling yourself and others what you're doing and when. It reduces decision fatigue and helps you protect your most valuable time for important work. And it's also helpful to schedule in breaks and even fun time so you don't burn out.
That's brilliant. It's like giving your day a clear structure instead of just letting things happen. I definitely need to try time blocking. I'm imagining a colorful calendar now. Speaking of real life, Jenny, do you have any personal stories or examples from your clients where these strategies really made a difference? Something relatable that our listeners can connect with?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. I have so many stories, but one that comes to mind is a client named Sarah. She was a university student, super bright, but always felt overwhelmed and stressed. She'd constantly say, "I have no time," or "I'm always studying, but I don't see results." When we did a time audit, she was shocked. She thought she was studying for 8 hours a day, but in reality, much of that time was spent checking her phone every few minutes, chatting with friends online, or just switching between subjects without finishing anything. She was at her desk, but not truly focused.
Wow, that sounds so familiar. I think many students and even professionals can relate to that feeling of being busy but not productive.
Exactly. So we started with 2 simple things. First, she designated phone-free zones and times. Her phone went into another room during her dedicated study blocks. Second, we introduced the Pomodoro technique for her study sessions. She'd study for 25 minutes, take a 5-minute break to stretch or grab water, then another 25 minutes. No checking her phone during the 25 minutes. At first it was hard, but after just a week, she told me, "Jenny, I'm studying less hours, but I'm learning more, and I feel so much calmer." Her grades improved, and she had more free time for hobbies. It wasn't magic, it was just intentional focus.
That's an incredible transformation, and it really highlights your point about awareness and intentionality. It's not about working harder, but smarter. I remember my own struggle when I was trying to launch this podcast. I had so many ideas, so many steps, and I would just stare at my computer feeling overwhelmed. I'd open my email, then check the news, then social media. Suddenly, an hour was gone, and I had done nothing for the podcast.
Yes, that feeling of overwhelm is a huge barrier, Tony. When a task feels too big, our brain often opts for easy distractions because they require less effort. It's a protection mechanism, but not a helpful one for getting things done.
Exactly. What helped me was breaking down the launch podcast into tiny steps. So instead of write script, it became write 5 bullet points for introduction. Or research microphones became watch 1 5-minute review video. And I started doing them first thing in the morning before checking my phone. Even 15 minutes of focused work on a small step made a huge difference. Slowly, those small steps added up, and here we are.
That's a perfect example, Tony. Breaking things down is critical. When a mountain seems too high, you focus on the first step, then the second. And doing it first thing in the morning, before the day's distractions pile up, is brilliant. That's what we call eating the frog. Tackling your hardest or most important task first. It gives you a great sense of accomplishment early in the day.
Eating the frog! I love that. So this has been an incredibly insightful conversation, Jenny. For our listeners who are feeling inspired and ready to take control of their time, what are 3 key takeaways, 3 actionable points that they can start implementing today?
Okay, excellent. Let's make it super practical. My first key takeaway would be, start with awareness. For the next few days, simply observe and track how you spend your time. No judgment, just data. You can use a simple notebook, an app, or even just a note on your phone. See where your time truly goes. This is the foundation.
Great one. And my second takeaway would be, prioritize and protect your time. 9-4. Once you know where your time goes, decide what's genuinely important for your goals and well-being. Then, actively schedule time for those things and learn to say no to anything that distracts from them. Remember, no to one thing is yes to another.
Perfect, Tony. And my third takeaway, take small, consistent steps. Don't try to change everything at once. Pick just one technique, like the Pomodoro technique for 25 minutes of focused work, or time blocking for your most important task. Start small, be consistent, and celebrate your progress. Small wins build momentum.
That's fantastic, Jenny. Awareness, prioritize, and protect, and small, consistent steps. Those are 3 powerful and actionable points. I'd like to add just one more, if I may, as a bonus. Forgive yourself. If you have a day where you feel like you've wasted time, or you slip back into old habits, don't give up. Don't let one bad day define your progress. Tomorrow is a new opportunity to try again. Be kind to yourself through this process.
Oh, Tony, that's such a crucial point. Thank you for adding that. Self-compassion is key to long-term success. It's not about being perfect. It's about being persistent.
Exactly. Well, Jenny, this has been an absolutely brilliant conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your insights and practical advice with us. I know I've learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners have too.
It was my pleasure, Tony. Thank you for having me. I really hope everyone listening feels a little more empowered to take control of their precious time.
You're very welcome. And to all our listeners, remember, your time is truly your most valuable resource. Don't let it slip away. Start today with just one small step. You have the power to take control of your life. If you enjoyed this episode, please hit that like button, subscribe to Learning English with Podcast Conversation, and share it with a friend who might benefit. You can also find more resources and tips on our YouTube channel. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.